Today we're out at Windrock looking at some trail that's been recently resurfaced. Focusing on Dropout, but to get there we need to start on Tallaladega, and these jumps have all just been recut. They're so smooth right now. Here we are right at the top of the Tallaladega run-in. Here's the first jump, and this one does feel a little lippy. It's only 12 feet to clear, but definitely feels different than it used to. The second one, oddly enough, is the only one that really resembles the way they used to feel. It might be a little steeper, but it still has that kind of easy, kind of rolling feel to it. It's about 15 feet. And then this one, you definitely get that feeling of kind of a lippier style jump. And it, just looking at it coming in, you kind of are anticipating a sharp knuckle. So you don't want to come up short because it's kind of a steep lander. And first weekend it opened, this was super muddy. So we were having some moments coming off this jump, but once you get this figured out, it is a really fun section. It's just much different than it used to be. So if you're used to how they used to be warned, they're very lippy right now. So big change. They filled in this little drop too, so that's nice and easy to hit. And then of course they freshened up this corner. And this thing's the same it's always been. Here's that first tight right-hander after the little double. And this kind of rock ledge gap that I was pulling for. It's hard to get it really clean, at least for me, to get enough speed, but it's something to shoot for, and it's not that risky because there's almost no knuckle here. And then this is my favorite table. It's only about 18 feet. The takeoff is just so nice, and you've got options on how you want to land that, whether straight or hip into that little pocket. Really fun section, this. It's always fun. So then Tallaladega is that berm to the left. If you come behind it, this is Dropout. The top bit of Dropout is probably the roughest, that section right through there. Here we are right after the entrance into these two rocky bits. This one, really small ledge there, no big deal. Same here, although it is a little steeper, but that step again is really small, so you can really hit this as slow as you'd care to with really no risk. And then it kind of gets a little chundry until we get into that first corner, and then things start to smooth out pretty well from there. And then the rest of this has really been reshaped around a mindset of making it as blue as can be. If you used to ride this trail a lot, you'll recognize some of these rocks here and there that have always kind of been there poking out, but once you get through that bit, the rest of this will all look pretty different than normal. It's still the same basic line, but it's all really been smoothed out. Really flowy berms and new rock drop options like that. And here's that tight little sort of shark fin into this sideways, or excuse me, off camber rock drop. Hit this all the time, love it. Landing's nice and clean. So great one to try if you're trying to get comfortable in that 3 foot range or so. And then it's got a decent run out. You just don't want to get sucked into this, because in order to hit that, you really have to thread the needle and land basically in that berm. And that is just, that's not for me. But this section is fun to ride. Really flowy berms. new rock drop options like that. That is rollable, but it's cut like a small drop, so it's a good one to learn on there. This is that little rock ledge that is completely rollable, but it is a good opportunity to learn how to do kind of square edge drops into an angled lander. So there's plenty of room here, and it doesn't take much off of here to get down a good 3 feet or even more if you want to kind of give it a yank. Fun little drop. So if you want to learn how to do little square edge hits like this, great place to come and take some reps. Down there. And up here there used to be a couple of options, and they've basically cut it down to one way through now, which is this right line with a small drop. And here's the drop that's actually marked as such. In terms of the geometry of it, it does feel a lot like the little one we looked at earlier. It is on a little bit of a downslope, so to me that helps. And of course, you're going to get at least, you know, 1.5 feet to get over that little bit of rock sticking out there. But again, the lander, pretty forgiving. So again, if you're trying to get used to these in the kind of 3 foot range, this is a great one, especially after you hit that first one 3-4 times and you feel good about it. You can start doing this one at that same speed and then kind of work up from there. Nice feature. Right line with a small drop before it bumps through some chunky stuff and then back into the line, kind of the way it has always been. Now, as far as the trail rating goes, definitely blue for Windrock. You can ride this pretty much as slow as you'd care to if you want to really take it easy, but at any sort of moderate trail pace, it's not gonna probably feel like your local trail system's blue trail back home. For a bike park though, it's pretty much spot on for a good blue. Now this used to be the hardest part of the whole trail, but it's been filled in, and other than that little bump off at the end, very manageable now, which is nice because that used to be pretty sketchy. And here we're at the last bit of trail that I think is worth getting a more realistic camera shot of. Even though my POV settings are very conservative, there's still a little bit of that GoPro effect, of course. And this one has got a little bit of chunk in it toward the end. It's really not that bad, but you definitely feel it when you first roll in that it's a little bit of commitment because you can't really stop arbitrarily wherever you'd like. And then this little hop isn't that big, but this root sticking out here can mess with you the first time because you won't really see it until you're kind of off the ledge and it's too late. So definitely don't swing too far right or right. Run it down the center and enjoy this newly rebuilt berm that can actually be ridden. The old one was so short that I almost had to stop to make the corner. Otherwise you just topside it and roll right into the leaves. And then this bit through here is the same as it's always been. Not a lot of support, but the corners are mild enough you can hold as much speed almost as you care to. And then it dumps out right where it always has, right behind Tallaladega. Now in a perfect world, where that rider's headed down this service road, I would call the rest of the full dropout line. But that section from there to where it connects back in has gotten so rough over the last 1.5 years that it really, especially now that Dropout's been resurfaced, feels nothing like Dropout. So I would recommend going this way. Hopefully the leaves will be gone when you get here, because this is a little unnerving to ride when you can't see what you're on. But this is a much smoother, albeit steep, much smoother way down. So this kind of fits into the spirit of the blue Dropout feel. Nothing you can't roll or hit nice and slow if you're trying to kind of get a little faster as the day goes on. And then here's where the trails kind of come back together and we hit the common run out. And I will run this at a pace that's normal for me. I won't kind of hold back because I'm trying to catch it, because it's a common trail. It's not really part of Dropout. Awfully fun to run this fast though once you figure it out. So if you're coming up to Windrock and looking for some blue trail riding, that is not the easiest trail on the mountain, but the second easiest. Top Gun would arguably be the easiest trail on the mountain, and I do have a video of that if you want to take a look at it. It's much smoother kind of all the way through, so you don't have any of those drops or kind of rocky lines or any of that stuff. But Dropout right now is probably the best I've ever seen it in terms of just being fun, not anything kind of risky, and you can ride it as fast or as slow as you want. So you can spend a good several laps kind of working through that trail. Come check it out. See you there.